The Indian defence industry has never seen so much excitement. The country spends about 1.8% of its GDP in the defence sector, and 70% of the requirement for our armed forces is met through imports. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi is hoping to change that with the Make in India policy. So as the first step, the FDI limit has been hiked to 49% from the earlier 26%. According to government estimates, India is likely to order defence equipment worth $100 billion over the next 10 years. But is the Indian ecosystem ready to capitalize on this huge opportunity? Will foreign investors find the tech transfer clause to enhance ownership beyond 49% onerous? Do our defence procurement norms and our tax regime encourage Make in India? We hope to find answers to some of these questions on this new series, Make in India, a New Deal for Defence. We also put the spotlight on some of India's most interesting and innovative Indian companies in the defence production sector.
The first company that we are profiling is Greater Noida-based Samtel Avionics. The mother company of Samtel Avionics is Samtel, a market leader in the picture tubes business till the world adopted flat screens. Today, the picture tubes business is almost defunct, but Samtel got a new lease of life when it made a foray into the defense sector in 2001.
As we walk into Samtel Avionics facility in Greater Noida, we're welcomed by Puneet Kaura, a CNBC TV 18 young Turk who has been at the helm of Samtel Avionics. He took us through the sanitized assembly facility of his company and filled us in on how Samtel has transitioned from being a maker of television picture tubes to high-tech avionics and display manufacturer for fighter jets.
We were looking at a technology which could be a niche technology in an area which was not really that crowded, so we looked at defense. In 2001, I think the doors for private sector were opened in defense sector, and we ventured into this through an acquisition in France in 2001 itself. In 2004, we tied up with DRDO in India, and then we started developing the cockpit display for the Sukhois, which has now gone into production for the last 5 years. We have supplied like 110 aircraft flying by the Indian Air Force are using our aircraft sets.
Over 110 Sukhoi MKIs are using display sets made by Samtel Avionics. But that's not all. In total, 150 aircraft used by the Indian Defence Forces use Samtel displays. In addition, the company has supplied 500 display sets to US giant Honeywell for civilian aircraft, and the company expects to export 1,000 more next year to its overseas clients like Honeywell. Samtel will also be supplying displays to the Tejas fighters and the light combat helicopter developed by the DRDO. Thanks to its overseas clientele, 60% of the company's turnover is from exports. In FY15, Samtel's turnover stood at 200 crore rupees, and it's hoping to double that to 400 crore rupees in FY16. The order book presently stands at 500 crore rupees, and Samtel is looking to double that by the end of FY16. The company also has a robust list of tie-ups and joint ventures. DRDO and Hindustan Aeronautics have partnered with Samtel Avionics for the past decade. In addition, it has a joint venture with French major Thales, and a joint production facility is almost up and running. Samtel has also signed an MOU with General Dynamics of Canada for supplying displays to the Arjun main battle tank and non-combat vehicles. While displays and avionics remain its core competency, Samtel is now looking at flexing its wings to other niche areas.
We've ventured into optoelectronic segment, which is a completely new segment for us, which is basically nothing else but high-end sensors, which can sense, say, enemy aircraft flying multiple 100 miles away from our aircrafts and detecting them through infrared rays. So that's a new technology we've got into, and that's a completely new area. Also complementary to that is electronic warfare area, which is also something which we have started to develop along with a foreign partner.
Samtel's 2674 joint venture is all set to see implementation with a joint production facility. But with an FDI regime that now allows 49% FDI, is its French partner looking at hiking its stake?
That's for Thales to decide. I think, yeah, as from our perspective, we are willing to go with what is the new policy allowing, and we are looking at what Thales wants to do. So if they want to take up to 49%, it's already decided that once the ministry allows it, we will kind of go with that. So it's still kind of something, the ball is in Thales' court actually.
Samtel Avionics follows a built-to-spec strategy. The in-house R&D unit designs and develops displays, and then these products are integrated into the supply chain. As a result, Samtel has 100% IPR for all its products. But can an MSME like Samtel Avionics rub shoulders with the big boys of the defense sector through Make in India?
Make in India thing is really coming into play in this company for sure. That means that export hub possibilities are coming out for us. Part of the reason is a lot of things that we make are avionic LRUs, not still full systems. Maybe to integrate them as part of the LRU supply chain becomes easier for the global players. So for example, we are looking at a lot of display systems that we are trying to export. A lot of boxes that get obsolete, they need redesigning. So those are also line replaceable units, LRUs, that we will develop as we will manage the obsolescence and then manufacture it for the global supply chain.
Samtel Avionics has also been working with HAL, India's only aircraft integrator, and has gained expertise in several areas through this decade-long association, which is set to deepen further.
HAL is working with us since last 8 years, 9 years now. We formed this joint venture in 2006. The primary focus of this joint venture was to manufacture their cockpit displays for all the legacy platforms. But we have ventured beyond cockpit displays. For example, we have started doing test benches for them. We are looking at now doing some very specialized display system, which is like sensors along with displays on the display systems.
Samtel is an excellent example of how Indian entrepreneurs adapt to changing times. Once a market leader in the television picture tube space, it is now a definitive leader in the Indian avionics arena. With the right policy framework, it can be a key influencer in the international space as well.
Well, that was the story of Samtel Avionics. It's time for a break, but when we return, we travel to Bengaluru-based Dynamatics Technologies, a company that started as a hydraulic pump manufacturer and now is a Tier 1 supplier to the big boys like Boeing and Airbus.